Welcome to the Bold North Breakdown, everyone. This is Glen Ritter here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Got a really exciting night of Minnesota sports happening tonight. Right now, Minnesota State Mankato is in overtime against Western Michigan in the first round of the NCAA hockey playoffs. One of 16 teams that made it in. They are playing Western Michigan, who is the number one seed in the Fargo, North Dakota region, which also contains the Minnesota Gophers. So we're going to be talking about this Mavericks game. It's been super exciting. I've kind of got it on in the background. My son's there watching it. He's if you hear some screaming, he's a huge Minnesota State Mankato fan. He's a student there and has been to a bunch of the games this year. And if he starts going crazy, you'll hear it and you'll know that the Mavericks won the game in overtime, which would be fantastic. But we'll see what happens there. So anyway, for tonight's show, we're going to talk about a lot of college sports. We're going to talk about the Mavericks game, however that ends up. We'll talk about the Gophers, both men's and women's hockey teams. The women made it to the Frozen Four, lost to Wisconsin, the eventual national champion. Play them really tough, so you can't really go wrong with that season. The men, like I said, are playing later on tonight after the Mavericks and Western Michigan game is over. We'll talk a little bit about the basketball teams from the Gophers as well. The women are in the semifinals for the WBIT, which is the women's version of the NIT tournament for the men. So they're playing Gonzaga tonight at Williams Arena. So looking forward to it. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. We'll talk about the Minnesota Wild, Timberwolves, and then Twins, right? This is opening day for the baseball season. Twins are playing the Cardinals. Had a rain delay to get started. They were supposed to start at around 3, but there's definitely been a rain delay there. Last time I checked, I think they were down 4-2 later on into the game. So we'll keep you updated on the scores throughout the show today. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. My son's going to be joining me when we talk to the college sports, because he's and probably a little bit with the Twins too, because he's here at home, back at home after being in the hospital for a few weeks. Now he's completing his college classes right here back at home. So doing those classes online. So. Really looking forward to talking with him a little bit. He's a huge sports fan. For those of you that count one of my earlier episodes, I did talk with him about the Mavericks hockey team. But we'll be right back here, and you're watching the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right. Welcome back to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As you can see, I've got my son, Noah Ritter, sitting here right next to me. So you want to say hi to everybody?
Hello, everyone.
All right. Yeah. So we're going to be, he's going to be talking a little bit here. We're going to be talking about some the college sports that are going on. But before we do that, I really want to just recognize our sponsors. We have Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Stuff is absolutely fantastic. I go through this stuff so fast, so I have to just buy as big of amounts as I possibly can, because I always have to have some, whether it's at home for snacking or in my office at work. Just great stuff. We've got Vital Apparel, a fantastic product, great fit for when you're working out, and part of the proceeds go to help mental health priorities and initiatives, which is fantastic. Seal the Deal Wax Seals, again, great product by Cecilia B. If you have some invitations or thank you notes or things like that you want to make special to make things just that much better, look it up on, you'll see the deal Wax Seals here on IE Sports Radio. And then again, make sure that you're following all of these stations here on IE Sports Radio. Follow us on YouTube. Let me put my handles up here. So this is my Twitter handle. The professional one at bold_north_IESR, or my personal page is Gritter13 on X. So check those out. Become a subscriber, again, check out our shows there. You can always find me. Also, don't want to forget about our newest sponsor. That's Raw Nutrition Supplements. Go to getrawnutrition.com and use the promo code IESR and get 10% off of your first order. So definitely a great thing there. And again, as I've kind of mentioned on X and Twitter, whatever you want to call it, if you want to become a member of the supporter group for IESR, you can find that at Spreaker.com/podcast/The Bold North Breakdown. You can find my show there. $5 a month. It helps keep the lights on, keeps all of this going. It helps all of our 30 plus shows from across the country. So definitely check those out. Before I get into my college sports update, which is the next thing I want to talk about, I really want to go back and check the comments here because we've got some good people here in the show. Taryn Rodriguez, thanks, Taryn. Good to see you. Taryn is the host of the SoCal sports show, and so anything Southern California related, and also does has the Set Point the show featuring volleyball. So Taryn, thanks for joining. I'm going to be talking about the Gophers volleyball team here when I talk about the college stuff, so stick around for that. And then also we've got Brian Francione from Boston. He's the Beantown Pound show, so talking all things Boston, New England area show. So thanks guys for joining. I really appreciate it. If you got any other comments or questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. If you got questions for Noah here, let us have it. He's as much of a sports fan as I am. So I've got my Gophers gear. He's got his Rhett Pitlick
Mankato jersey.
Yeah, so he's repping them. So he is also kind of looking at the TV across the room. So he might, if you see him a little bit, his eyes a little distracted. That's why. But anyway, so let's get in and talk some more about this the college sports scene. As we mentioned, we're going to talk some hockey. We've got Minnesota State Mankato just went in, finished their first overtime period. It is still 1-1. Minnesota State Mankato going against Western Michigan. Western Michigan was the number 1 seed in this bracket, which meant Minnesota State was the number 4 seed here. Overall, I think that would make them about number 13 or 14 out of the 16 teams that are in the tournament. So playing really, really well. They're playing with a lot of energy. So we got a few minutes of a break here, so that Noah's not going to be distracted because they're at intermission. So he's actually going to be able to focus on things here. But an hour after this game is done, then the Gophers are going to be playing against UMass. So looking forward to seeing that one. Also, real quick, before I get too far in, I really want to just give a shout out to the lady the women's hockey team for the U of M. Made it to the Frozen Four, which is fantastic. Lost to Wisconsin in that first in the first semifinal game of the Frozen Four, and obviously Wisconsin won in overtime against Ohio State, having that penalty shot to send it into overtime with 18.9 seconds left was a thing of beauty. It was fantastic to watch. Not normally a Wisconsin Badger fan, but you got to. When you see talent, you got to recognize talent. So they have a really good team. Mark Johnson being the head coach there, former Miracle on Ice player. He's done great things with that program. So just looking great over there in Wisconsin. Anyway, so looking forward to seeing what happens here with these games. But we'll keep touching base as we go through the show once we get more information. So if we're talking here and Noah just starts screaming, that means somebody scored in the game and the game's over. So if he's swearing, that means Western Michigan scored. And if he's just hooting and hollering, that means Mankato scored. But let's talk a little bit about the basketball teams as well, though, too, because we've got the men's basketball team did not have a good season, so it didn't make the NIT or anything like that. But the women's team has made it to the semifinals of the WBIT, so it's the women's equivalent of the men's NIT tournament, so the National Invitational Tournament. So they're in the semifinal going against Gonzaga. So doing pretty well. So hoping that they can keep that going. They're playing tonight at Williams Arena. We'll try to check on our phones to keep track of what's going on there with that game as well. We've got so many games going on tonight. It's going to be hard to keep track of all of them, but yeah, we'll try to talk about that. For the men, once Colorado State was eliminated from the national tournament, the Gophers jumped right away to hire Nico Medved to be the new head coach for the Gophers. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do. For those of you that don't know, he's a Minnesota guy. He grew up in Roseville, which is a suburb of the Twin Cities, right kind of in the middle of the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, and went to the U of M. He was an assistant coach, I believe, under Clem Haskins. For those of you that remember, he was one of the most successful basketball coaches we've had. Also left in a horrible scandal with academic fraud being rampant through the program, but did generate some really good players and really good teams. They made it to the Final Four, which can't claim anymore because of that academic fraud, but I believe he was an assistant coach with them, and has been a really good coach. I mean, he's at Colorado State. I think he made the national tournament 3 of the last 4 years. Won this year in the first round. Upset, who did they play? You remember?
I had them winning in my bracket in the first round. The 5 seed. Yeah,
it was a 12-5, which, that never happens, right? No. Number 12 never wins.
Oh, was it Missouri, was it?
It might have been.
I can't remember.
Or Xavier? I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. We can check it during the breaks, I guess, if we want. But yeah, really looking forward to seeing what he can do. Ben Johnson was a really, really good guy, but he didn't have much coaching experience, didn't have a whole lot of support. Like the amount of NIL money that the university invested in the basketball program was pretty minimal, right? All the good players that he recruited last year that were freshmen, guys like Pharrell Payne, I think Braden Carrington, trying to remember some other guys, but they all left after the freshman year. Pharrell Payne went to Texas Tech. Big man. I mean, he was dominating in the second round of the tournament, and I can't remember if they're still. I think they're still in the Sweet 16. Mm-hmm. Big man, like 6'9", 6'10", wide shoulders. Just kind of a beast, and has become a much better player from last year to this year. But the amount of NIL, the amount of money that he was being paid by Texas Tech was way more. I think, if I remember reading it right, after he announced he was going to be transferring last offseason, I think the Gophers were able to offer him like $75,000, and I think he was offered as much as like $225,000, but I think he went to Texas Tech for about $150,000. But don't quote me on that. But those are the numbers that I remember. So I think he could have gotten even more. But with that situation, it sounds like Mark Coyle, who's the athletic director here in Minnesota, is going to invest more in the NIL program or in NIL, be able to identify some more funds for players. But looking at the players, there's already been 4 that have announced that they're going to be leaving the program this year. There was Frank Mitchell said he was leaving. Brendan Rigsby, Caden Betts, and Tyler Cochran. All 4 are entering the transfer portal. 2 of their of the young guys that were freshmen this past year, one was a freshman for sure, are sticking around, and that's Isaac Asamoah, and the other one is Grayson Grove. Those 2 are going to be sticking around. I think that there's also been a lot of the players that initially committed to the Gophers under Ben Johnson are still going to be attending here, because I know there was a couple of really good in-state players that agreed to stay home and play for the Gophers. It'll be interesting to see if those guys do stick around. One thing that's always been a bit of a challenge is keeping all of the in-state players at home. But I think that the way Nico runs the team and the effort that he gets his players to play with is going to translate, and it's going to speak to a lot of people. And I think there's going to be a lot more support at the barn going forward with the basketball team. Real quick note on the women's volleyball team. My wife and I are going to be going to. They have an open scrimmage against tomorrow or Saturday. Sorry. Against Northern Iowa. So we can get in first come, first serve. No tickets required. So we're going to try to get there early. There's a 2:00 match between Iowa and Iowa State. And I think in the morning, the Gophers play Iowa, which is closed to the public. And then I think the Northern Iowa State game. So like all of them are going to scrimmage against each other. Anyway, so the Iowa State, Northern Iowa, Iowa State match, scrimmage match is at 2:00. So after lunch, that one's open to the public, and then the Gophers play Northern Iowa at 4:00. So we're going to be watching that one as well. So really looking forward to that. My wife and I are huge volleyball fans. Looking forward to seeing how they're going to do this year. A couple of players that are returning after last year, Melanie Schaffmaster, who was their all Big Ten setter, graduated. She's finished with the team, so they're going to have to replace her as the setter. There's an incoming junior transfer. I can't remember her name, but I think the one that's probably going to get a lot of looks, and I'm really interested to watch and see how she plays, is a young woman by the name of Stella Swenson. So if you follow Minnesota volleyball, you might remember a setter from a few years ago, from the late 2019s, Samantha Seliger Swenson. This is her younger sister. Samantha was a 4-year starter at setter. She went to Hopkins High School, which is where I was working at the time. So again, I think I talked about this last week. We had, the food service program has been able to generate some really good Division I athletes here that I've worked at. So between Paige Beckers and Samantha Seliger Swenson, we've been able to help give them the nourishment that they need to be D1 athletes. At least that's the credit I'm going to take, right? Anyway, so really looking forward to seeing how she does. But they've got some really good returning players. Julie Hansen, she's a senior outside hitter. Really hadn't been given a lot of playing time early on. For whatever reason, Keegan Cook didn't really want to get her into the rotation, but every time I saw her play, she was outstanding. Her serve receive was always really good. She was a really good hitter. She didn't get rattled. Like there's some players, and like McKenna Wooker is one of the top recruits that Hugh McCutcheon recruited before he retired. She stuck around here in Minnesota all 4 years. She's a senior now, and she's an outside hitter, can absolutely crush the ball. but she is either really on her game, or if she gets blocked a couple of times, then she starts thinking too much and loses some of that aggressiveness. Julia Hansen doesn't have that issue. She's a fantastic athlete, great vertical. I think she's like 6'1", and can just get up and crush the ball. Blocks a ton of spikes. Yeah, she's really good. Also looking forward to the other person that's going to be returning, senior opposite, Lauren Crowell. Lauren Crowell, you might recognize if you follow the Wisconsin men's basketball team. There's a center, power forward, the big guy. Last name's Crowell as well. That's her brother. They're both from Egan. I think he went to Eastview. I think I'm not sure if Lauren went to Egan High School or Eastview High School, but they're two large high schools right here in our same school district 196 here in Minnesota. Anyway, so like I said, left-handed, 6'4", left-handed, likes to play on the right side. Again, hasn't always gotten as much playing time as I think that she should, because she, being a lefty, is harder for blockers to be able to read. So many hitters are right-handed that I think that there's a lot of middle blockers that just don't know how to line up and to be able to take away some of those cross-court shots or line shots by a left-handed hitter. So really looking forward to seeing what she can do. Another young player that I really want to see and check out is a young woman by the name of Jordan Taylor. She's a 6'5" middle blocker from Texas. I believe she's very highly recruited. The Gophers always seem to have some really good recruits, some highly rated recruits coming in. Sometimes they leave. The prime example of that was Booth, Carter Booth. She was recruited by Hugh McCutcheon as a freshman, 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", something like that. Daughter of Kelvin Booth, for you old school basketball guys, might remember that name from the 80s or 90s, I guess, late 80s into early 90s. Big man, played for the Nuggets. He was actually in the front office for the Denver Nuggets. So she's a middle blocker, gets recruited by the Gophers. Hugh McCutcheon retires. She transfers to Wisconsin. So that's one where I'm a little upset with Wisconsin. But again, they've got a great program. And that's the thing about the Big Ten. Big Ten volleyball is fantastic. So if you ever get a chance to watch some Big Ten volleyball take place, do it. It's the way everybody plays is just phenomenal. So anyway, yeah, so definitely that's kind of the college sports update. So let's we're gonna go take a quick break. We're gonna hear about some of our other shows, and we'll be right back here on the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, sports fans. It's me, your boy Larry B, and I want to walk you through the world of sports. No. Not just the mainstream major TV deal type sports, although those are important too. But let me be your guide through your journey of all sports, from college to the pros, the minors, and everything in between. Each week, we are talking sports galore with true diehards just like you from a hardcore fan's perspective that's sure to quench your thirst around leagues you may know all too well and some you may even discover here. That's right, sports fans. If you love sports of all kinds, enjoy hearing amazing sports stories, and respect all sports because you know how difficult any of them can be to play or compete in, then this is your show. Join me, your boy Larry B, on The Defining Moment each week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and let the sports come to you.
IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
All right, welcome back to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio. Make sure you check out those shows. Defining Moment with the king of IE Sports Radio, Larry B. He is the founder, he is the owner, he is the CEO, he is the head Pumbaa of all things here on the IE Sports Radio Network. So definitely check out his show. He's on multiple shows, but that's the Defining Moment was one that I picked out there. And then also the Philly Sports Talk show with Cash and Chris. Make sure you check those guys out if you want to know anything about Philadelphia sports. They're going to be the show to check out. I'm going to get to some Twins talk here in a bit, but before I do that, a couple of comments came in during that break, and I really wanted to just give a shout out to Taryn. Again, thanks for listening in, talking about the women's volleyball program, and appreciate the kind words about the breakdown. So I'll give you a rundown through our app after Saturday. My notes, I guess, from what I see, because I do, right, like I said, I love volleyball. Wasn't a sport I played growing up, but I have played it as an adult and learned a lot by playing it, and watching the Minnesota women play is just so much fun. My wife and I always seem to get tickets a few different times throughout the season. So thanks again for the kind words. And but let's start talking a little bit of baseball, right? Because it is opening day. So the Twins did face off against the St. Louis Rams. So I got to double check the score. When I was looking at it last, it was 5-3. St. Louis was leading, and I believe it has probably gone final.
Alex Tracy.
Okay.
Alex Tracy. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be distracted for the rest of the show watching this Mavericks game. But Alex Tracy is single-handedly putting this team on his back, and you will hear about this man for the next few weeks. He's gonna go viral on social media in the Mavericks. Yeah. Continue.
Alex Tracy is the goaltender for the Minnesota State Mankato team. He is a Hobie Baker finalist, I believe, right?
He is.
Is that correct?
Hobie Baker finalist, Mike Richter finalist. Hobie Baker is College Hockey Athlete of the Year, and Mike Richter is Goaltender of the Year in college.
Yeah. So anyway, as I said, Twins opening day. It is the top of the ninth.
Down to the last
Twins are down to their last out, down 5-3 to the St. Louis Cardinals. So didn't really expect a whole lot out of the team. I'm not expecting them to pull out a win here. Let's see who's up to bat. It is Matt Wallner. So that's our leadoff hitter. Talked about him last week. Big guy, like 6'4".
Big power.
Yeah, looks like a lumberjack. So he might be able to put one out, but he's down to his last strike, and we'll see what happens there. Anyway, so looking forward to the season. Talked a lot about the team last week. I think that although they're going to be one of, I think, 4 teams that are all kind of really similar in the Central Division. I think Detroit, Cleveland, Kansas City, and Minnesota are all going to be right there in the same struck out swinging. He struck out swinging. That's the game. So we are officially behind the Chicago White Sox in the standings, which is disappointing considering their Vegas line for number of wins for this season after setting a record last year with the worst record in Major League Baseball history. They are projected to, or the line was set at 53.5 wins. Not exactly the greatest things there, but Adam, I know that I saw your post earlier that that Chicago won, and they're above 500. So congrats to you on that. The Twins, we just, we aren't going to be all that excited about the Twins for a number of reasons. Number one, the injuries. Just again, you just can't seem to keep guys healthy. There's always somebody hurt. But anyway, one thing that we are excited about is the St. Paul Saints opening day is tomorrow. So they are going to be starting off their season against the Indianapolis Indians. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Noah here actually has a pretty cool thing to share with everyone. So why don't you tell everybody about that?
Yeah. So actually, I am a sports photographer. I've been doing this for a few years now. I've had cool opportunities to do some games with the St. Paul Saints, Minnesota State hockey, which is why I have such a deep passion for the team. But I actually got a season-long media pass with the St. Paul Saints, so that's for every home game I'm allowed entry into the game to take photos in the third base dugout. And a really cool opportunity opened up for me with Twins Daily, a very popular blog here in Minnesota, reporting on the Twins with John Bonus, who I'm a pretty big fan of.
Yeah, John Bonus, for those of you that don't know, is a local sports writer. He has a website called Twins Daily and a podcast with a gentleman by the name of Aaron Gleeman. So they refer to it as Gleeman and the Geek. So John Bonus is the geek in that situation. He's also on the morning show, local sports morning show that I always listen to on my drive into work. Great guy. And so when Noah told me about the media pass, I encouraged him to reach out to Twins Daily because they're a big deal here in the Twin Cities area. And so last night he got a response back from John Bonus saying that he'd like to connect. And so he responded back already this morning and super excited. So he's bouncing off the walls about that, even more so than the hockey game that's going on. So, but anyway, so wanted to just really share that with everybody, but it's just a really cool opportunity for him. He's had other sports photography kind of opportunities, including he was an intern last year while he was still a senior in high school, with the Minnesota Aurora, which is the Minnesota pre-professional soccer team. They have their games at the Vikings playoff facility. And so he's had that. He's gotten hired a few different times for some other local things. He's gotten paid to take photos at Minnesota State Mankato hockey games, soccer games, football games.
Pretty much any sport there, get paid for. Got some good opportunities with local newspapers in the Mankato area, Mankato Free Press and Henderson Independent. Had some really cool opportunities with them. So
yeah,
it's been going really well. Still only a freshman in college, so many opportunities opening up for me. So
yeah,
it's great.
Pretty cool for. Oh, and Western Michigan just scored to end the Mavericks season. Sorry, bud. So you can tell he is not handling it too well, but at least he didn't curse. So we have that going for us. So anyway, sorry, bud. That is unfortunate. We'll have to get back to that anyway. So as you can tell, I'm really proud of this guy, just being able to chase his dreams with the Twins and St. Paul Saints. So having that pass, I think he's really going to try to take advantage of that and try to help out and get some more of his photos out there. Like you mentioned, he's been in the local newspapers a couple of different times for some small papers by the Mankato campus. But the one thing I really wanted to touch on with the Twins that makes things a little bit of a challenge. Do you need to step away? Do you want?
I'll take a quick second. I'll be back. I'll be back.
All right. Well, if you need to, take your time. Sorry, bud. Anyway, so the Polad ownership situation is something that's been a little. It's been hanging over the Twins fan base for years now. And it's really gone boy, it's gone downhill since Carl Pohlad first bought the team in 1984. He bought it from Calvin Griffith, who was a notoriously cheap owner, right? So I actually remember that because my first year that I remember watching the Twins was 1982. And that team had one of my favorite players on it, and that was Kent Hrbek, which everybody who's watched the 1991 World Series remembers Kent Hrbek and what that play with Ron Gant in the World Series. But anyway, I digress. So in 1982, the team won like 61 games, 100 losses. Really wasn't a very good team, but they did have some young players to kind of build around. Calvin Griffith he sold like Rod Carew to the Angels for traded him there. Didn't really get much in return. I really didn't want to. He wasn't a fan of free agency. I'll say that because when he signed a player, found a player, he wanted to keep that player playing for the Twins as long as possible. So when Carl Pohlad bought the team, that was a good thing, right? So he bought the team in 84, 1987. They won the World Series. 84 was when Kirby Puckett came up to the majors and joined the team, who was another one of my favorite players because I played center field and loved playing baseball and trying to emulate Kirby Puckett. We're both short. I'm 5'8". He's 5'8". So I was like, yeah, that's my guy. Anyway, I couldn't hit for power like he could though, so it wasn't quite the same. But anyway, he got the World Series win in 87. They came back in 91, won it again, and things were good for quite a while. Then it came to be about 2001. Twins are still playing in the Metrodome. They wanted a new stadium deal. They wanted to get out of the Metrodome because the Metrodome was not a good place to watch baseball. It worked. It was, like I said, better than nothing. Better than being rained out or being snowed out, which has the tendency of happening up here in Minnesota. Anyway. So Carl was in 2001 wanted to sell the team back to Major League Baseball for $150 million. He paid $43.5 million in 84, and then in 2001 he wanted to sell it for about $150 million back to MLB so that they could just contract the team and the Twins would no longer exist. Major League Baseball didn't go for that, so he stayed on as owner. He did end up passing away in 2009, and his three sons took over as the owners of the team. So those sons were Jim, Bill, and Bob, and those three were on the board, executive board. Jim was the president of operations. He was the executive officer for the organization. And during that time, they worked really hard to get a new stadium built. The taxpayers helped fund it. They now have a beautiful stadium, and in 2000, early 2000, that would have been about the time that Joe Mauer was drafted. I think it was actually 2001 that he was drafted as a senior out of high school, and was a cornerstone for the franchise. Eventually, they did get that stadium built, but the Pohlad family has been notoriously cheap as owners, we're kind of refusing to invest in players. We never really sign outside. Well, I have to take that back because I do have to give them credit for signing Carlos Correa. But otherwise, they have not invested in a free agent that would really help their team. They've never been aggressive like that. They've never really tried to generate some interest in the Twins by just investing in keeping their own players even. So today's game was a prime example. Sonny Gray was on the Twins pitching rotation in 2023. He was a free agent after that year. They could have re-signed him. They didn't. Signed with the Cardinals, and now the Cardinals have him as their number one pitcher. It was a great season. 2023 was a fantastic season. We had Pablo Lopez, Sonny Gray, Bailey Ober, Joe Ryan, and I can't remember who even the fifth starter was. But when your first four starters are those guys, you're in pretty good shape. And now after last season, okay, let's maybe back up a little bit. So after 2023, they decide we're not going to re-sign Sonny Gray because we have to right size the payroll. So they ended up going from about $160 million payroll down to about $130 million last year. So in addition to Sonny Gray going, they didn't invest in anybody else to replace him in the rotation. So last year, the rotation starting out the year had a couple of guys that were pretty good, right? Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, Bailey Ober. And Bailey Ober really wasn't Bailey Ober until last year. Last year, he really came into his own. But it was those three starters and then kind of a hodgepodge of other players. I think there was Dan Serafini that they had traded for. I think he pitched in one game before he got injured and was out for the year and is gone. He's a free agent after last year. Let's see, they rushed Simeon Woods Richardson up to the major leagues last year. Joe Ryan got hurt. Just didn't have any kind of experience depth to be able to keep the Twins afloat, keep the fans interested. So not only did they cut back on payroll and kind of tuned, we're a little tone deaf to all the fans that were trying to watch them. They were having issues with watching the Twins on TV. And it was pretty disappointing. And then after the season, they made a statement that they were going to have to cut the payroll even more because there was less fans attending the games. Well, duh. Of course, we're not going to be attending the games if you don't spend any money on players. If you're going to have that kind of approach, we know that there's that you're not going to, if you're not going to invest in the team, what's the point in us coming out to watch the games? Yeah, it's a beautiful stadium, but we know that we're not going to really be all that competitive. We might, there's enough talent in the batting order to be able to win some games over the course of the season, but the pitching depth was just never there. They're dealing with injuries. And when it's a house of cards with your players, you got to be able to, invest in some depth. You're not going to, sometimes players are going to get hurt. That happens. Which is what the Twins deal with. Anyway, so after last season, they made the announcement that they were going to be selling the team. So and also let me take a look back. In 2022, Jim, the son, stepped down as the president of operations, and his nephew, Bob Pohlad's son, Joe, took over as president of operations. So he's the one in charge now since November of 2022. After last season, as I mentioned, they made the announcement they're going to be selling the team. Joel Ishbia, one of the Ishbia brothers that is part owner of the Phoenix Suns, expressed some interest in purchasing the Twins. So we were, as Twins fans, we were all excited. Getting a new owner in would be great. But one caveat to that was that he had part ownership of the Chicago White Sox. So he would have to sell those shares in order to buy controlling interest of the Twins. Well, over the offseason, that fell apart, and he actually bought more shares of the White Sox. And so we're back to square one when it comes to selling the Twins. All right, you good?
Yep.
You went upstairs, vented, go outside, and just scream for a bit?
Oh,
I thought I heard that out there, but maybe not.
I could.
All right. Anyway, so come to this week, and we find out that the Pohlads rejected a purchase offer Not sure who it was from, but for $1.5 billion. The valuation, from what I've seen on Forbes.com, has the Minnesota Twins franchise value at $1.5 billion. But they turned it down because they want $1.7 billion, partially because they have $425 million in debt with the Minnesota Twins, and I'm not sure how that's possible, considering they don't spend hardly any money on players. They have about $130 million payroll. They receive $100 million at the beginning of every year from Major League Baseball as part of the TV deal. And ticket sales and regional broadcasting should be able to cover everything else as far as operating expenses. So I'm not sure how they can be $425 million in debt. And the part of the other part that was just amusing with all of that is they also wanted Joe Paul had wanted to continue running the team. So he wanted to sell the shares, but also still be in charge of the operations, which we're like, okay, no, who's going to do that? Who's going to buy a team and then say, okay, yeah, you can keep running it like you have ownership? It's not going to happen. But the other reason why they turned it down is because they're not going to 1.5 million after paying off that debt wasn't going to be enough to split between those three sons. And it's like $500 million a piece. I kind of think that would be they should be able to make ends meet with that, because that's not the only business that they have. But anyway, so that's kind of where they're at with the ownership piece. In the off season, there was talk about, well, maybe by opening day they'll have a deal made, sell it off to somebody else, but that has not happened. It's come and gone. And in fact, it wasn't until today that they even announced where you could watch the Twins on TV. They have the Twins app, twins.net app, I think is what it's called.
Well, they have like a new television program or television deal called Twins TV.
Oh, Twins TV, that's it.
So they directly stream it through the MLB TV, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
In fact, we got a free package because we're T-Mobile customers for MLB TV, but it's every team except for the Twins, because now they have blackout, because that's a separate like payment plan. It's a payment package, so pretty frustrating. Yeah, and that's how Twins baseball will be. So, you got to pay a lot of money just to watch disappointment all over. So.
Well, and that's the thing that makes it so tough is like when you enjoy watching the game of baseball, which we both do. Yeah, he played baseball up through 10th grade. I played baseball in high school through whatever grade, and. You enjoy the game, you know how it works, and you want to be able to see it. I love watching pitching and defense, and when a hitter can get on base. Like I'm just not a fan of the whole home run or strikeout approach to hitting. That I just don't see any value in whatsoever. But anyway, I digress with that. Anyway, so just I'm just a little frustrated with that whole ownership situation. So we're going to see. Hopefully that will turn around. Hopefully we can get on, because I do believe Fubo has some games, and I think Hulu Live we can watch some games. So we might have some opportunities there. We'll have to do some investigating, but it's just so crazy that they didn't make any of these announcements until today. Like Major League Baseball was doing all the negotiating for the Twins, and I think they did it for some other team. So maybe that's just par for the course, but I just harken back to when I was a kid. It was on just local broadcast TV. It was on one of the channels every single night, and you got a chance to watch them. So anyway, well, we're going to take another quick break here. Finish up go to our last segment here on the Boulder North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back.
Are you a Tar Heel, Blue Devil, Demon Deacon, or maybe even a Gamecock? Do you cheer for the Panthers, the Canes, the Crown, And check out the Carolina Sports Update every week with me, Neil Curtis, to get the latest and greatest on all the sports action in the Carolinas. We'll be talking pro sports, ACC and SEC football, basketball, baseball, and everything in between. We'll even talk a little Formula One racing now and again. So, for the best hour of Carolina sports coverage, catch me each week on Carolina Sports Update with Neil Curtis, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, IE Sports Radio family and other sports families. My name is Alden Kay, and I want to welcome you to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. If you're a fan of the Valley and the Grand Canyon State like me, then I've got the show for you. Tune in every week, where I will update you and give you the latest news for the Arizona Cardinals, Phoenix Suns, Arizona Diamondbacks, ASU Sun Devils, U of A Wildcats, GCU Antelope, and of course, the NAU Lumberjacks. Again, if you're a Valley sports fan and like all that is desert sports like me, tune in every week here on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll see you then.
All right, welcome back to the Bold North Breakdown here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So getting to the crunch time here, got a lot of things to talk about here, and we're running low on time, but I do want to touch on a few things. Number one, the Wolves. Wolves are in pretty good shape this year. They're 41-32. They're technically in 8th place in the West, but a half a game behind both the 6th and 7th place teams, the Clippers and the Warriors. 9 games left, 4 at home, 5 on the road. They're going to be back playing tomorrow night at home against the Phoenix Suns, who, as we mentioned here with Alden's team with the Arizona Sports Zone, the Wolves are 3-0 against the Suns. So I'm kind of hoping that they can continue that, get that going. So because we're at crunch time of the season, right? They got to try to get out of the play-in game. Try to jump both the Warriors and the Clippers, but both of those teams are pretty hot right now. Clippers are 8-2 in their last 10. Warriors are 7-3 in their last 10. The Wolves are 7-3 in their last 10. So everybody seems to be winning, which doesn't allow the Wolves to jump up a lot. So, but they did go 1-1 this past week. Had a rough game against the Pacers. But anyway, so they've got 4 home games left, 5 on the road. Not playing either the Warriors or the Clippers, so it doesn't help them be able to climb a game. But like I said, they've got home games against the Suns, Pistons, who are a really good team. Christian, thinking about you and your Detroit, Gritsville teams. We're going to be playing them. We got the Nets. We haven't played the Nets yet this year, and we're going to be playing them twice here before as the season winds down. And then, so 1 at home, 1 on the road. We got the Jazz. Oh, there you go. He's back. Got the Jazz coming up again. So that's a game that they should win. That one's at home. And then the road games that they have, they're playing Denver, who is just, demolishing the rest of the league. But the Wolves, amazingly, are 3-0 against the Nuggets. So if they can pull out another win there, that'll help their cause to climb up in the standings to get out of that play-in game. Like I said, Nets, and they play Sixers, Bucks, and also the Grizzlies. So Grizzlies are another really good team that's going to be tough. They're 0-2 against the Grizzlies this year, so it'd be nice to get one win against them this year before the playoffs start. So like I said, we got that playoff push coming up. We got to really take a few steps up. So I think the team itself is playing pretty well. Anthony Edwards is he's a beast. He's a force to be reckoned with. Needs to continue working on his the mental game that goes along with it, so that he can hit some clutch shots at the end of games. But all in all, he's a beast, right?
And definitely stay out of the technical fouls.
Yeah, he can't afford it anymore. He's already been suspended once.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, but I do think that really was something that was beneficial to his game, because after he was suspended for a game, after with all those technicals, and he had the game where he was pushed by Bradley Beal in the game against the Suns, where he was going up for an alley-oop kind of a dunk.
Mm-hmm.
He's been getting a lot more foul calls.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't have to do the whining as much as he had in the past. And it was one of those things where I think that the social media aspect of that really showed he was not getting those calls when somebody can give him a two-hand push in his back as he's up in the air, and there wasn't even a foul called initially. It had to be called on replay, and they upgraded it to a flagrant. That's just absurd, and so he's been benefiting by taking the ball to the rim and getting those foul calls. So
absolutely,
yeah. So got just 9 games left. I think they're going to have to win probably 7 of the 9 in order to have a chance at jumping up a spot. But we'll see. Minnesota Wild are playing tonight. Let's see. Last time I looked, it was they're playing. Where's my app? Sorry, apologize here, everybody. Get to my my Wild app. So I know that they were down 2-1. Yeah, they're down 2-1 to the Capitals. So they're playing the number 1 team in the NHL. And don't need to show that there's 9 games remaining. But they're just limping towards the finish line. They're still in the playoff spot. They're still in the 7th spot. They are 4th in the Central. They're 40, 27, and 5. So, but 4-5-1 in the last 10. Everybody behind them is going crazy. The Blues have won 7 straight, who are only 2 points behind them now. They're 8-1-1 in the last 10. Vancouver is 5-4-1 in the last 10. They've won their last 2. And then Calgary is 6-2-2 in the last 10 games, and have won 4 in a row. The injuries are really taking a number on the team. Marcus Foligno was going to be back tonight, so hopefully that helps. Again, they're only down 2-1 against the Capitals and Alexander Ovechkin, and so far he has not scored either of those 2 goals. So yay! I thought he was going to maybe get all 6 he needed to pass Wayne Gretzky in this game, but that's not happening. Thank you. But one positive outlook, I guess, for the Wild is that there are some guys that are starting to return. So Kirill Kaprizov, who has missed, I think, 37 or 38 games. Joel Eriksson-Ek has missed 30 over the course of the whole season. They both started skating today. So that means with only 9 games remaining, right? I think is what I wrote down. They might be able to come back for a game or 2 before the playoffs start, assuming that they're able to hang on to a playoff spot. If that happens, getting those guys back is going to be huge, right? Because that's what they need. We need those stars coming back. Anyway, that's it for my show. I appreciate your time, everybody. I appreciate all the questions, and I'll be back again next Thursday here on the Bold North Breakdown. So again, shout out to all of our sponsors here on IE Sports Radio. Again, check out Carolina Sports Update. I forgot to give Neil a shout out there after plugging his show. Check that out. Anything Carolina related, race cars, things like that. Even South Carolina, North Carolina, he's got it all. And then Alden with the Arizona Sports as well. Again, check out all of our sponsors. Planet Jerky Beef Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky is fantastic. And Vital Apparel, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, Raw Nutrition. I've actually ordered some more Raw Nutrition stuff recently, and it's great. It's good to incorporate into your diet at all times, too. So it's great. And then again, follow me here on Bold North _IESR or Gritter13. And as a reminder, become part of the supporter club. $5 a month gets you mentioned every single week. Get you on the show. You be a supporter for $5 a month. Do that for a few months in a row. Get you some IESR gear, whether it's t-shirt, sweatshirt, whatever kind of thing that you're looking for. I'll hook you up with that. So thanks again for joining me. Check those out. Follow us here on YouTube, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere that you find podcasts, you can find our shows. So check them out. There's over 30 all across the country. Everybody's doing a great job. They talk about every single sport you can possibly think about. Oh yeah, look at that. Thanks, Noah. Wild just scored to make it 2-2. Let's see who scored that goal. Merrill was the first one. Goldie with the power play goal to tie it up at 12:25 in the second period. So awesome. So even though the Mavericks had a rough night here, losing in double overtime, well, actually, nope. It looks like it was Freddie Gaudreau. It looks like they changed the scoring for that. So that's how quickly things change. Anyway, have a wonderful week. I'll be back next Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, 6 Mountain Time, wherever you're at. You can find me here on IE Sports Radio. Remember, Bold North Breakdown on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.